I had a chat with Ashley and I said, hey, I've got a bit of an idea. I've been doing some drawings, doing some clip arts. I had previously made some resources, but I said, Ashley, would you like to come on this journey with me and start creating resources, selling them on an online platform and see where it takes us? And she said,
firstly, it is our birthday.
Happy birthday to us. And we've got someone extra special with us today.
We do. We've got someone extra special and we're recording this episode in person, which I don't think we've ever done before.
No, we haven't. This is the first time.
Rainbow Sky Creations acknowledge the traditional owners of the land that we record this podcast on, the Darrell and Woodjuk Noongar people. We pay our respects to their elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures.
Hello, welcome back to Rainbow Skies for Teachers. This episode is a really special one for a couple of reasons. Firstly, it is our birthday.
Happy birthday to us. It has been 10 years since Rainbow Sky Creations entered the digital space, and what a wild 10 years it has been. And we've got someone extra special with us today.
We do. We've got someone extra special and we're recording this episode in person, which I don't think we've ever done before.
No, we haven't. This is the first time.
Yes, so usually we record via Zoom. I'm in Sydney and Alicia's over in Perth, but right now we are sitting on the south coast of New South Wales with a special guest, Jarka, our OBM, which is our online business manager. So Jarka sits on the team in between Alicia and I. That's how I describe us. We're the three that run the business together. And we're really excited. Jarka's been saying to us for many months, maybe even years, that we need to create an episode where people learn a little bit more about us and behind the scenes. So we grabbed this opportunity of being with her in real life. So Jarka, I'm going to hand over the mic to you and let you take control of this episode. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ashley and Alicia. It's such a pleasure to be not only working with you, but actually spending in real life time for an online business, and knowing you for 2 years now, working together only online. This is a real treat for me. And recording the episode also in person.
Yes.
What a treat. So let's get straight into it.
And let's do it.
We're actually in paradise, I was going to say. This is one of my favorite parts of Australia, in New South Wales, in Jervis Bay. And we're kind of mixing a little bit of work and pleasure, going for swims and enjoying the wonderful surroundings. So let's share not just that, but also behind the scenes of building a business. 10 years now. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
So let's go back to the humble beginnings, the origin story. How did Rainbow Sky Creations come about? Ashley.
Well, it started with Alicia, so I'm going to let Alicia begin.
So a lot of you know, who are regular listeners or have followed our story, know that Ashley and I met in the desert in Dubai, UAE. And while I was working in Dubai, I stumbled across teachers who were using a platform called Teachers Pay Teachers, and I was curious about it. I'm a creative being at heart. I originally did a first degree in multimedia and photography. So, I fell into teaching, unlike my beautiful business partner here. And when I met my now husband, I ended up in the same part of the world as Ashley in Sydney. And I didn't have a job. I'd blown my back in my early 30s, feeling a bit sorry for myself. Ashley's about to pop out her first baby. And I was like, you know what? I love creating. I've got an idea. But I knew I needed someone on my team to motivate me, because I can easily get distracted. See a squirrel, I'm distracted, I'm off, and off I go. And I had a chat with Ashley and I said, hey, I've got a bit of an idea. I've been doing some drawings, doing some clip arts. I had previously made some resources, but I said, Ashley, would you like to come on this journey with me and start creating resources, selling them on an online platform and see where it takes us? And she said yes. And little did she know, here we are, 10 years later, running a business that is amazing for me.
Well, it's amazing for me too. It changed my life. I never realised that the trajectory of my life would go in this direction, but I just had a baby. So I was in leadership school and I was kind of feeling a bit resentful leaving school because I felt like I was really loving my job and loving my role. I didn't know what life was going to be like as a mum. But when I had my first baby, I was really loving it. And then when Alicia came along and suggested, and like had this crazy name, she's like, it's called Rainbow Sky Creations. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I can even remember the cafe. I think we were eating Toasties when you were telling me about it.
Yes.
Sometimes I still drive past that cafe. And I thought, oh, look, it's worth tinkering about, because I was at home with one baby and you got a bit of extra time when that happens, and I fell in love with it. But I also wasn't very good at the beginning. I was actually just telling Alicia and Jarka yesterday that the first kind of main resource I made, I was actually here in Jervis Bay and I was here with my in-laws and I'm tinkering away, and I made one worksheet and Alicia's like, you can't sell that, no one will ever buy it, it's terrible.
Look at you now.
But I did get better over time.
Exceptionally.
Yeah, and I really loved this new era of leadership because I'm able to help teachers but without being in the school setting, which was limiting in a lot of ways. So yeah, it really was a life changer. So thank you, Alicia.
My pleasure.
So clearly you guys are business partners, and if anyone is wondering what would be some of the key things to look out for when choosing a business partner, what would you say that is?
Well, since I have a squirrel issue in terms of easily distracted, I think you've got to know what your strengths are when you're going into business and know what your weaknesses are. And you find someone that complements you in terms of what your strengths are and weaknesses are, and hopefully their strengths are your weaknesses and you can complement each other in terms of going forward in a business. I think, I'll be honest, I think Ashley and I went into it quite naively.
Very.
I remember we had this piece of paper and it was kind of like, oh, this is it. And, partnership done, sorted. And it was a very organic process for Ashley and I. And I think nowadays, if, Ashley and I were to pursue something down different avenues, I would have 100% different approach to it. But I think you definitely got to find someone who complements you in terms of what your strengths and weaknesses are.
Yeah. I think also one thing that helps us is that we have the same North Star, which aligns us together. So although we're very different, our North Star is we want to spend time with our families, that they come first, and that the business is a second to that.
Yeah.
So I think that really, really helps. But I was having dinner with Mrs. Chalmers Cherubs, which I'm sure many listeners would know Julia, and she was asking about Alicia because we live on different sides of Australia. And I said, if you met Alicia in person and you met and know me, you would be surprised. We are so different. And we kind of came together and became friends in Dubai, really because we were both Australian at first. And then we had the thing that we both loved adventure.
Yeah.
And we would go on little adventures around the UAE together, and we'd drive and we'd get lost, and it was really a lot of fun. But if you come down to the core of it, we are really, really different people. But in the end, that is why it works, because what Alicia brings to the table and what I bring to the table are two very, very different things. And I think over the years, I have changed and developed as a person because of the different things that Alicia has taught me.
Yeah.
Like patience and sometimes taking things a little bit slower. And I think vice versa too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's lots of things that I suppose I've kind of pushed us into, which has been, some of them have been good, some of them haven't been so good. But I think because we are so different, we like the yin and the yang, and I think that is why it really works. And I honestly think distance helps too.
I agree. I would definitely say that it would maybe a different story if we were neighbours and we lived in the same neighbourhood.
Yes.
But there is space between us. I think it allowed us to trust each other in terms of going forth. And what you mentioned about the North Star, and in terms of as what Rainbow Sky represents, is that representation of what our North Star is. And that's our ultimate goal moving forward, of supporting and empowering teachers. And if you're not aligned on that, then it's pretty much near impossible for a business partnership to succeed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as someone who has been watching you guys over the last couple of years, I can see your skill sets being very complementary. Alicia being behind the scenes and be more into the techie stuff, whereas, Ashley being more front-facing, loving social media, and I think also understanding what lights you up and what you really enjoy doing and doubling down on that. I've seen you both do that really well, and I think that also creates that beautiful energy exchange and the yin and yang and the support ultimately. But, let's not kid ourselves, right? With the scale of your business and the last 10 years and how you have grown, I'm sure you're not doing this alone. So let's talk about what's behind the scenes. Are you guys getting any help? Are you doing this on your own? Give us the logistics.
There was a while where we were doing it on our own for many years.
Yeah, many years.
I think I come from a family where asking for help is not the easiest. And we have got quite a beautiful team around us. I think we've reached the sweet spot of having our team. Would you not agree?
We've got a dream team right now.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. So for us, all the people that work for us are contractors. So we have the beautiful Jarka, our online business manager. She is a gem, and we have to do a big shout out to Jarka in terms of how she's kind of supported us and allowed us really to grow, I feel, as a business owners, with Jarka.
Yeah. When we were first talking about getting Jarka on board, we were with a coach, and the coach said, "Oh, she sounds like a unicorn." And she is.
Yep.
She is a unicorn, and we found it. And that's true.
I so appreciate you.
So we have Jarka. Who else do we have on our team, Ash?
We have got a website developer.
Yes.
Her name's Nissa, and so she helps us with all of our beautiful behind the scenes of the website, and that's what you see today. We've had so many website dramas over the years, and I'm sure that you probably heard business owners say that it's been quite a ride, but Nissa is responsible for a lot of the beautiful things that you see on our website.
100%. Then for many years, I was the bookkeeper. Terrible decision. But no, we have the lovely Eliza from One Space Bookkeeping, and she has changed our beautiful organisation of our bookkeeping, and that has been amazing and a huge weight off my shoulders. So a big shout out to Eliza and her team. Much appreciated.
Yeah, Eliza is amazing. And then we have Sarah, who actually is a friend of Jarka's.
Yes.
So she is over in Europe. So Jarka is actually based over in Europe as well, but she's currently here in Australia. And she manages our inbox, and she helps with a lot of other just tiny little bits and pieces, just organisation behind the scenes, supporting both Alicia and I.
Yeah.
Since getting her on board, it's been amazing.
Amazing. Our customer service extraordinaire
Yes.
is Sarah from Hungary.
Well done, Sarah.
And then we've also got one of my dear friends, Lauren, who is an amazing photographer, but she is a Jill of all trades. And she helps us with our marketing, with the behind the scenes of our website, with uploading products. We can call upon her and she's just brilliant. So a big thank you to Lauren and understanding our systems and operating procedures, because that's a challenge in itself sometimes.
Yeah, well, without Lauren, we wouldn't get the podcast up for you guys to listen to. She uploads that, so it's all ready for you to listen to every week. Speaking of the podcast, finally we've got Rosie, which you have probably heard of before because we've given Rosie a few shout outs over the years, but she edits our podcast and she's just like editing magician.
Yep, she is.
She makes us sound so professional when we're really not behind the scenes.
And that would be our current dream team.
Yeah.
I'm really making sure I haven't forgotten everyone.
/ our children.
Oh.
So they do contribute. Mine are a little bit older, so often little hands that you see, that's theirs.
At product testing.
Yeah.
Product testing, they'll often get things coloured in so they're ready for us to take photos.
Yes.
And sometimes they do get paid a little small amount for that.
Yes.
I'm with him, Monty, at the beginning of the podcast as well. He does the acknowledgement of country, which he absolutely loves. That's my eldest. So they're kind of a part of the team as well.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Well, now that you guys outlined the team and a bit of a rhythm of who does what, give us a bit of an insight into your day-to-day. How do you work on the business? What do you do? How many hours? Anything really that you would like to share?
I get this question so much. People are really fascinated with how my day works. So I technically work on a Tuesday, Wednesday and a Thursday, and I work school hours, so 9 till 3, but I do have a break in the middle of the day 2 days a week to go to the gym.
Priorities, it's important.
It is very important. However, throughout the other days, I do bits and pieces of work. So I actually post on social media manually every day, mostly twice a day on the
Yeah,
mornings
a few
and the
gasps
nights.
then.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I manually post those. So I'm often doing bits and pieces on the other days as I pick up. But my days generally look like recording podcasts, writing blog posts, and obviously creating products too, which is one of my most favorite things to do, is to sit down and create resources. And at the moment, we're trying to fit more of that in. But right now, that would often fit in like on the weekends or at night time when I get a burst of inspiration, because during the working week, there's so many different little things that add up over time, and sometimes you don't get to do that fun stuff as much anymore. We used to do so much product creation at the beginning. When we first started, Alicia was working full time and I was at home with my babies, and so we would go out to the park in the morning, I would feed them food, come home, get everyone off to bed for a sleep, and then I would sit down and work for a couple of hours creating a product, and it would take me weeks to do it because I would just do it in little bits over time and then send it to Alicia and she would edit it and look at it over the weekend. So we've definitely moved on from that, but it's great. And I always say to people, one of my favourite parts of the job is I can go to the toilet whenever I want.
That very much is a highlight. I do agree.
Yes.
So my day, well, my week, I work Monday, Tuesdays. That's when both of my kids are at school. I still have my littlest one. She just started kindy, or preschool for our New South Wales friends. So I still have her the second half of the week. But my Mondays and Tuesdays are my solid work days, and then I work half days on Wednesdays and a little bit here and there, because with what I do, I'm the behind the scenes gal. I'm the one looking at our emails, our sales funnels, writing emails, checking in with Sarah, our customer service, and getting back to customers and fixing up things on the back end and getting a little bit lost down the rabbit holes of analytics and numbers. I'm also help Ash with the marketing in terms of like our paid ads. So before you know it, when you sit down and you have your coffee and you look at the clock and you're like, oh, it's like 9:30, I got plenty of time. And then it's like, my husband's like hitting me up at 1 o'clock going, what are we having for lunch? Like, what's going on? I'm like, oh my gosh, where did the time go? And then before you know it, you're heading down to school to pick your kids up. It's great to get lost in work and enjoy it so much. That's what I love about it too. But I agree with Ash. Product creation was always the highlight. And I would love it when Ash would send something through, and then I love that opportunity to see what she's creating, and then I'd be like, how we can add on it, how we can modify it, and it just gets the creative juices going. And I know for us, working on having that creative time is an important part that we want to focus on moving forward. So keep your eyes peeled.
Yeah.
So just out of interest, let us in on how many products are now in the eShop.
So in store we would have about 700 products, and that's inclusive of bundles. But quite a meaty collection.
A lot. That's a lot of hours over the years. What's your favourite? Like, we know we don't choose favourites.
No, that's true.
But
so I recently was creating the dots and boxes, and I was playing it with my daughter. And I used to love playing it with my students and the multiplication version. So I'm a bit of a fan of the dots and boxes series.
Yeah.
For maths or maths concepts.
Jarka, what's your favourite product?
Well, I mean, you can go wrong with any of the games, especially if you have a pack of cards at home. Wow, way to go in and have loads of fun. There's so many products in the shop.
Yeah.
How about you, Ashley?
I think probably is my favourite, but let's not repeat. Let's not give too much time to I really love the numbers of the day because I think they're so versatile, and there's probably one of the very first things that we ever came up with, and it was also our first freebie too.
It was,
which we will link in the show notes if you don't have a copy of. We've actually got a 2-digit version now and a 3-digit version, so we'll pop the links to those in the show notes for anyone who wants to try out number of the day.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've also got some free games, so we'll put those in the show notes too.
Excellent. So speaking of products and systems and tools and all of that wonderful magical stuff behind the scenes, which is also part of the team, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure. All those subscriptions.
We're running a digital business after all. So if you kind of had to describe your business model and any kind of tools that maybe you would need a shout out, that we would not be able to live without, that we rely on to run the business through automations, what would be some of your favorites? And I probably have a couple too, but let's start with you, Alicia.
All right. So I am kind of in charge of the email. So a mailing service is really important. And it's probably something we should have done a lot sooner in the business, was a way to capture our beautiful Rainbow Sky posse and people who love hearing from us, and being another way for us to communicate with them. So having a really good platform for your, whichever one you choose for your mailing service. And another one for us, which we've only recently moved to, is having a great e-commerce platform. So we originally started on Teachers Pay Teachers. We are still there, and we have like Ashley said, it changed our lives.
Yeah, it did.
We also have our own website, and we use Shopify, and that has transformed my life. Definitely in terms of usability, intuitive technology.
And just makes our teachers' lives easier. So you guys who come on and like find some great resources to save you time, it makes your life so much easier to be able to purchase those from us. We've tried, this is our third attempt at a website store. And the last two attempts wasn't easy for teachers.
No, it wasn't fun for us on the back end either. So definitely those are two for me. What about you, Ash?
I've got two. Number one's a very obvious one, but Google Drive.
Oh, yes.
So for a long time, we didn't have a Google Drive. We used to email resources back and forth to each other. And then have different versions, like half-edited ones and all sorts of things.
Those times. It feels like when you had overhead projectors at school.
Kind of does, doesn't it? So we've got a Google Drive now that's packed with all of our resources, photos for everything, videos for everything, just like got millions of things on there. So that is definitely a game changer. And then one game changer for me is ManyChat, which is connected to our social media. So every time you ask for a link for something, it automatically sends out the link. Before ManyChat, when we first launched our games, we did it manually.
More so Ashley did it manually. It was only when she hit capacity and she's like, there are hundreds of messages.
Yeah, well, those games got thousands when we first released them. And my process is that I'd work and do bits and pieces. My kids weren't at school then, so I'd be with them during the day. And then every night, I'd sit down on the couch with my husband, we'd turn on a TV show, and I would just sit there and copy, paste, and reply to every message. And I would often reply to people with their names, so it took a really long time. So ManyChat has changed my life. It was very hard to work out to begin with. We had a few teething issues, but it's been great, because that way, too, you guys, our teachers that are out there, get links to things that make their life easier much quicker, because often sometimes it would take a couple of days to get back to people because there was so many coming through.
Yeah. I mean, when I was listening to Alicia list your two favorites, and I'm like, those are mine. But that just shows you, Alicia and I work in the same systems quite a lot, and Kartra is our email marketing software that we use, and we find it really handy and helpful. And then Shopify. And for me, the best feature for Shopify is our Psychic.
Oh my gosh.
He's the AI assistant that helps us run any kind of stats or any kind of insights into the data. So it's been really, really helpful and helps us with our decision making, with strategy. So going on to Shopify has been a game changer for us.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your first years. What was it like back in the very beginning, the first few years, in comparison to where you are at today?
Well, firstly, our resources were ugly. Would you agree? Yeah.
They were. And only recently we were just updating the Harmony Week packs, and I was like, oh God, these are like, this was overdue for years. So we recently were updating those. I think a little bit of the first few years was a bit of the blind leading the blind in terms of running a business.
Oh, definitely. Well, it was more, I kind of say to anyone that asks about the beginnings of our business, it was more of a hobby.
100%.
Because you were working full time.
Yes.
And so you were only really doing it on the weekends.
Yeah.
And I was at home with two little ones at the beginning, and then I ended up having my third, but I was at home with them, full-time mum. And it was kind of like building a nap time empire.
Yes.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
You were, very much so. And it wasn't until 5 years in that I had my first, and then I was embracing the new life of motherhood and just being like, oh my God, what's with my brain? And that was a huge adjustment shift for me. And I think that's when we started to bring more help on.
Yes, it was.
I remember you going to me like, this isn't a hobby anymore, Alicia. And I'm like, oh my God, it's not.
Well, that's a great epiphany to have, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I did push you for a while for it not to be a hobby. When I had my second baby, she was not a good sleeper at all. So she was more of a nocturnal animal rather than what we would like humans to be, which is awake during the day and asleep at night. And I remember saying to Alicia, I don't want to go back to work. I'm too tired to go back to school when I was supposed to go back to school after a year. And then I kept saying to her, what if I took off? My daughter was born in April, so I had April to December of the school year to go back to. And I said, what if I took that time off and did a little bit of work on Rainbow Sky instead? And she's like, oh, do what you want, babe. Do what you want. I think now that you have kids, you're like, oh, I understand where she was coming from. But I did do that, and I have a really supportive husband, so I was really lucky that he was like, you should take that time. And that's where our first year survival guide came in, which was one of our biggest sellers, which then we started building up an audience of new teachers, and we ended up creating a course for them. We created a membership for them.
I remember I had my daughter, and 5 days later we were launching Transform Your First Years.
Oh, there we go.
And I was on a call after just having given birth. Like, we definitely entered a new era, I felt, at that time, and it was exciting.
It was, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so great to listen to these stories because many I have not heard yet either. And it just shows that you guys really wanted to help teachers. You wanted to keep this going. You kind of felt like there's something in here. And at the same time, juggling life, motherhood. Now, let's talk about how all of this has shaped you as a human being.
Oh my gosh. It's a coincidence. It coincides with turning middle age as well at the same time. I feel like it led to a real mindset shift, and for me personally, realizing what my ability is and capacity is. I am very much a person who doesn't really go in with a plan. It's probably why I have Ashley around. She's great with plans. It's probably why I have my husband around. He's great with plans too. So I think for me, I didn't really know what I was capable of. And I think the business has stretched me in ways to not doubt my abilities, which I'm appreciative of.
How about you, Ashley?
Yeah, I feel like I didn't really realise what I was capable of either. So it has been an amazing experience for that. But I also I see my role, if someone asks me if I work, yes, of course I work, but I do see myself as a stay-at-home mum first and foremost. So I kind of get the best of both worlds. My husband has a big job, so I get the best of both worlds. I get to spend a lot of time with my kids, school holidays with them. I'm always around for their activities and taking them to school, and we're not rushing in the mornings. I think I've spoken about that on the podcast many times. I don't want us to feel rushed. So I feel like the business has really shaped me in that I get to be that really present mum, which is so important to me. And then your family life is actually quite different as well.
Yes, it is. So I've got 2 little babies. Well, they're not little, but my husband was also a teacher. So he was in education for 18 years. We were both, when we were together before we had kids, we were those teachers that were working, it felt like, all the time. And when holidays came around, we were jumping on a plane and going somewhere because we had just put so much in the term. And then in the last year, my husband actually stopped working. And now he's kind of like the stay-at-home dad. But I also want to be the stay-at-home mum. But we both get to, I guess, on the choices that we've made with the lifestyle that we want, we've made that decision. And I guess, like anything, nothing's set in stone in terms of what the future looks like. But yeah, my husband gets to be at home. He has his things. He is my amazing cheerleader. He is my sounding board and my Excel spreadsheet helper.
Yes, yeah, he has set up many an algorithm on the spreadsheets for us.
I've got to use this mathematical brain of his. And so for me and like our community, it's very different what our family looks like in our household. But it's great, and I'm really appreciative of the lifestyle I have.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, freedom.
Wonderful. Now, is there anything that you guys struggle with?
I'm always constantly struggling with
so many struggles.
And more so to the point of growing a business. And your business, from where I stand, grew quite quickly. And scaling, teething issues, perhaps you had that. Anything really that you could give a bit of an insight into for our listeners.
Do you want to go first with this one, Ash?
Well, I think like education, things are always changing in the business world. Side note, I felt like when I left the classroom, I wouldn't have to like deep dive into data any longer, because I hated when they used to always say that, okay, it's a staff meeting that's about data, and you'd be like, oh, and now we still have to do that.
We do. But yay for Jarka helping us understand that better.
The data. But that's not really a struggle. I think the changing climate, so I do a lot of the social media, and sometimes it can feel really personal when a post doesn't go very well, or when we don't have this very often, but sometimes we might post something or put something out there and then it's misunderstood and you can take it really quite personally. And you're always trying to change, and content creation is one of those things that you kind of always have to be on for. You've always got to have your brain switched on to like, oh, what story could I post about this, or what would be helpful for our teachers about this or about this. You can't just say I'm going to take a break. So I think that is a challenge. And then as far as we go, like you and I, we've had like, it honestly has been fairly smooth sailing over the majority of the years.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've like, babies threw a bit of a spanner in the works.
Yeah, when I had my second baby, I struggled. I would say I had parental burnout.
Yeah.
And
then
that
was
impacted the business, and then it just led to us having a conversation.
Yeah.
And being comfortable with the uncomfortable, but it allowed us to talk about things we needed to talk about, but we hadn't talked about.
Yeah.
And I think that was actually a kind of breakthrough for you and I.
Yeah, it was. And then I struggled a lot through COVID. My husband was still working and I had the 3 kids, and we decided to sell our house. We had nowhere to live, so we moved into an apartment. So I was at home with 3 kids in an apartment.
And still doing social media every day. Wow.
Well, that part was the easy part, but like I felt like I never got any time to sort of do what I really enjoyed, and that was like creating resources and connecting with people in our community and things like that. So I found that I felt really like pulled from pillar to post. I mean, I look back and there's lots of lovely things that happened during that time, but it was also a time of just me spending a lot of time with toddlers.
Yeah.
Right. Well, 10 years in, what brings you the most joy?
For me, it's still the product creation side, but also looking back and seeing how far we've come.
Yeah, I agree. I honestly never envisioned this in terms of, for me, it's that freedom. It's, you're talking about being seen, that stay-at-home mum. It's like, I was one of those people that got into teaching because I love variety. I love little humans. I have a love of learning. But there was this bit of me thinking to the future of going, as a teacher, there are these things called holidays, and it gives me space that if I do have kids, I have a bit more flexibility, or my kids could be at my school and I could still be part of their world.
Yeah.
And the fact that we've created a business that allows me to be part of my kids' world and be there for drop-off or be there for pick-up, or if they're sick, we can take time off work and be there. Like, for, I guess, our family and for Rainbow Sky, family is so important. It's one of our, like, high core values that I go, wow, like, tick, success, living the dream.
Wonderful. Well, to wrap up for today, I guess I have one last question. If anyone is thinking about either starting a business, or maybe someone is already side hustling, or maybe running a business and scaling it, and you would have something to share with them as a red hot tip for running a business, for building a business, what would that be?
It'd be back yourself. Like, if you've been sitting on the fence or you've got an idea and you think it could change the world, back yourself. Do it. Even if you need to have an accountability partner and actually say it out loud to someone for you to pull the trigger and do it, go do it.
Great advice. Ashley?
Alicia's going to roll her eyes at my advice. Consistency is everything. Consistency moves the needle forward. I'm thinking back to those days where I was talking about being at home with my kids in COVID. I changed my mindset. I was speaking to a coach that we had, and she was trying to help me through it. And I changed my mindset with just, if you just move the tiniest, ittiest bit forward each day, you'll look back and you will have come so far. And that's so true. And I think it's true as teachers in the classroom too. We're with our kids all day in the classroom, and we don't need to make huge leaps and bounds. It's just those tiny little steps and those consistent steps that will move the needle forward.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for this lovely conversation.
Before we go unicorn,
Yes.
let me ask a question to you.
Ooh.
Can you tell everyone a little bit about your lifestyle? Because you have a really interesting way that you work.
Well, thank you for that question. I am a digital nomad, although I don't necessarily like to be boxed into a term, but what that means is I travel around the world and I work on my laptop and I work with wonderful clients such as you guys. And the flexibility of working on online-based businesses also enables my flexibility and freedom of choosing where I work from. And I'm not necessarily your fast-traveling nomad. I like to stay in one place for at least 2-3+ months. Like I'm in Australia now for 3 months and I'm loving it. But it's a great lifestyle for me as a single person who doesn't have children or a husband and, you know, has the ease of choice. I really enjoy it, and it is a lifelong dream that I had to travel the world and see it, and I'm finally living it.
It's so cool. And you've got a podcast yourself. If people want to learn a bit more about digital nomading.
I do. So if anyone wants to tune into Soulful Nomad Life, you can subscribe on Apple Podcast or Spotify. And any questions, I'd love to hear them.
Jarka's your gal.
She is. All right. Well, we'll put the link to the podcast in the show notes as well.
Thank you.
Well, that is a wrap.
Woohoo! Happy 10 years.
Birthday celebration. Thank you so much for joining us for this special episode. It was a different one, but we hope that you enjoyed it and you got to know a little bit of behind the scenes, what happens at Rainbow Sky, and Alicia and I, our life behind the mic a little bit more.
Absolutely.
We're going to be back next week, as always, because consistency is key and we never skip a week of our podcasting. But until then,
there are rainbows ahead, my friend.
And together, we're unstoppable.
Thanks for choosing to listen to Rainbow Skies for Teachers, the go-to show dedicated to teachers who want to make a big difference in education.
If you enjoyed the episode, please leave us a 5-star review or share the episode with a friend. Because together we're
Unstoppable.